The Phoenix Suns are legitimately a good basketball team. They currently occupy the seventh seed in the West with a 19-13 record, which is especially impressive when you consider that last season they finished 36-46, and that was with Kevin Durant. So they might finish above 500 for the season. And before the season, their over under was at 31.5 wins. So this all leads to the question, how are the Suns so much better? And I think the answer starts with Dillon Brooks. Surprisingly, Dillon is in the top 30 in NBA scoring. He's actually 30th, and he's just behind Brandon Ingram and De'Aaron Fox, and he's ahead of Jimmy Butler, Cooper Flagg, Scotty Barnes, and many other notable scorers. Looking at his stats, we can see that they are points heavy. So he's averaging 21.5 points per game to go along with 1.6 assists, 3.1 rebounds, and he does average 1.3 steals, which is just outside of the top 50. He's got a rock solid shooting percentage at 45.7%, and then his 3-point percentage is at 33.5. Comparing that production to last year in Houston, we can see that his scoring is way up. In fact, he's at a career high in scoring. So last year he averaged 14 points. Again, this year he's at 21.5. He's doing this in one less minute per game. His field goal percentage is also way up from 42.9 to a career high 45.7. And then surprisingly, his 3-point percentage is down. So last year he averaged a career high 39.7%. This year, he's at 33.5. We can see that his assists per game are about the same, and his rebounds per game are down this year, 0.6 rebounds. All right, so continuing on, let's look at the Phoenix Suns roster. So they have 3 new key additions. Otherwise, we have Devin Booker, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, Colin Gillespie, and Ryan Dunn, who are all carryovers from last year. And these are all the players that are getting significant minutes. And then we have the new additions, Dillon Brooks, Mark Williams, and Jordan Goodwin. So focusing in on Mark Williams, we can see the Suns have an excellent addition here. He's averaging 13 points, 8 rebounds, and 66.5% from the field. So this was a really nice pickup. But I will add, he's only averaging 24 minutes per game. So that makes me wonder, is he on a minutes restriction? Is there a reason for that? We do see that he has missed a few games this season. But I do think the key addition for the Suns is Dillon Brooks. And this, of course, comes from the blockbuster Kevin Durant trade, where the Suns traded Kevin Durant to the Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the number 10 pick in the draft, and then 5 second-round picks. And I think the focus was on Jalen Green and the draft picks. But Dillon Brooks really has become the feature in this trade. And I think Dillon Brooks, I would classify him now as a semi-star. And I think he's on the verge of becoming a star. If we see that 3-point percentage go up, if we see him add a few more assists and rebounds, he's right there among star players. And with his contract, when he signed his contract with the Rockets, it was for 4 years, $86 million. Myself, along with many others, I didn't understand why the Rockets paid so much. I thought this was an obvious overpay. Now looking back, Dillon Brooks is an excellent value. This is the kind of contract and contribution you would want. So at 4 years, 86, it really is a steal of a contract. And when we go beyond the statistics and we start to think about what Dillon Brooks brings on the defensive side, then he could actually be considered a star. So let's go through the big board. And on this first block, I have that he was awarded the All-NBA Defensive Second Team in 2022-2023. And one of the reasons I have this tile is because if you look at the defensive statistics, Dillon Brooks isn't showing up on the leaderboard. But I think that's in part because of some of these other tiles. And let's go to tile 3. He's always taking on the top scorers. He's taking on the other team's top offensive players, and I think that could limit his defensive advanced statistics. Also, we won't see a lot of block shots from him. I've covered the steals. He's outside of the top 50. He doesn't get a lot of defensive rebounds, so we're just not going to see that type of production from him on the defensive side. But we all know that he comes with the reputation of being a defensive player, and we can see his intensity, his mindset. I think the mindset that he's brought to the Suns has really helped. And of course, we know that he's a tough defender. And I think part of this is that he's containing the other team's best players. So it's not like he's getting a bunch of steals or blocks, but he's just playing solid defense. And that's not really going to show up in these advanced statistics. And then as far as plus minus, he's averaging a minus 0.4. So that indicates you have a solid starter, a good role player, and not as much of a star. But also keep in mind that the Suns aren't as good of a team, so that could bring that down. So when you think about the better teams and you look at the role players on those teams, their plus minuses are higher because they're on a winning team. So when you look at the Thunder, it really stands out because you see so many of the role players with really high plus minuses. And just for context here, we have Shea Gilgeous-Alexander leading the NBA at 12.25. Then you have Nikola Jokic at 9.5. And then last year with the Rockets, Dillon was a plus 0.28. So I think Dillon is a very, very good player on the verge of becoming a star. If he takes his game up even more, he's got the offense. If he can just start to fill in those other categories, at least statistically, then he'll look like more of a star on paper. But he may very well be there just with the intangibles that he brings on defense. So of course we don't see that in the box score. But if he's providing that on defense, where he's actually slowing down the other team's best player, and that's holding him back on the defensive metrics, then he very well might already have arrived at star status. And then I also have here, just going along with what I've stated with his reputation, he's physical. He doesn't break back down. You won't see him back down from any players. And that type of mentality and that type of approach is really infectious for the other team, for the entire team. And I think he's been a such a nice addition. And I think the driving force behind this turnaround for the Phoenix Suns, even though they've lost Kevin Durant, who again is producing this season for the Rockets, but the Suns have seen a stark turnaround. And it's not like, I expect the Suns to fade, and I think they'll be more of a 500 team. But just looking at what Dillon Brooks is bringing in terms of points, in terms of defense, and what he could potentially become if he gets even better, if he plays a few more minutes per game, we could see Dillon Brooks go up even another level. And so he's always been a solid role player, but he might end up becoming a star.